Chris Lehane is the former press secretary to Al Gore in the 2000s campaign, and Michael Dennehy is a former senior advisor for John McCain's 2008 presidential campaign. He is unaligned this time around, at least so far. Good morning, the two of you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Michael, I'll begin with you. Is it strange for you and the New Hampshire to see John McCain campaigning for Mitt Romney there in the Granite State, because those two were engaged in such a bitter battle 4 years ago?
They were. A few people fell off their seats the other day when he endorsed them, but what a lot of people don't know is that in 2008, when John McCain secured the nomination, Mitt Romney, he, on his own dime, traveled across the country, whatever state John McCain asked him to go to, in front of whatever group he wanted him to go to. He spoke on behalf of John McCain. No one worked harder than Mitt Romney for John McCain to elect him president, to try to elect him president in 2008. And let's face it, this is not a selfless business that we're in politics, and I think Mitt Romney was hoping at this point that it would be his turn, and indeed, it was.
Well, I want to look at what happened then versus now with you, Chris, because McCain turned his fortunes around in South Carolina. He won the primary there in 2008 after losing it back in 2000. There's this new poll yesterday which shows Romney in the lead in South Carolina after trailing Gingrich there for so long. Romney came in fourth in the primary back in 2008. You think he can really win it this time, Chris?
Well, you know, this has been the best running reality show that we've seen in some time, the Republican primary. But, you know, the way it looks right now, and I'm sad to say this as a Democrat because I've enjoyed watching the Republican primary process, it does appear as if Romney, you know, is poised to do what no Republican candidate has done, which is really sweep through those first three. And if you think about it, right, Iowa identifies the subset of losers. New Hampshire historically identifies the group that could potentially win. And South Carolina, at least on the Republican side, has basically crowned the winner of the Republican primary process. And at least based on the polls that we have out there right now, you know, it may be 3 strikes and you're out for the rest of the Republican field, just given where Romney is. Now, there's debates today, tomorrow. Some of that stuff could potentially change the dynamics. But again, based on what we're seeing right now, Romney does seem to be in a position that no other Republican candidate in the presidential primary has been in before.
Michael, I'm interested here with Rick Santorum, what he's doing, spending all of his post-momentum in New Hampshire right now. He's far behind Romney. He's in third right now. But you'd think he might go to South Carolina, where he does have a more traditional base there that he could appeal to. Is this a mistake, a la what Mike Huckabee did 4 years ago?
I don't think it's a mistake. I think it's a smart move. The fact of the matter is, in New Hampshire, the conservative vote, the social conservatives, cultural conservatives, they're up for grabs. They're splintered right now, and with his momentum, he has the opportunity to coalesce conservative voters. Mitt Romney clearly has moderates and independents and a few conservatives, but independents and moderates are going to remain fractured. Conservatives could be coalesced, and I think it's smart for Santorum to try to do that because he needs to continue to show momentum headed to South Carolina next week.
Michael, I'm curious what you're looking for. Is it the candidate who comes in second place? Are you looking for that Tuesday? Are you looking for how the independents go?
Second place in New Hampshire is the gold medal this time around. I'm looking for, obviously, who comes in second, where conservative voters align themselves. Independents will play a factor, but as I said, they're going to be split up, and it's conservative voters. Are they going to coalesce around Santorum? Are they going to be split with Santorum, Gingrich, Perry to a lesser extent? Conservatives will probably determine who comes in second place.
And speaking of second place, Chris, I mean, you having served in the Clinton White House, Bill Clinton was dubbed the comeback kid. He came in second in New Hampshire. Who do you think is going to be the comeback kid this time around?
Well, I'm not sure if there's really a dynamic that really allows for that. In 1992, the structure was so different. There was much longer time periods between the various campaigns, the various primary elections. You know, if you go back to 1992, there were a number of weeks that took place before Bill Clinton actually even won a primary, and that was in Georgia. And so the whole process, the whole sense of expectations was just structurally very different. And in this day and age, when this stuff is moving so quickly, there's a limited amount of oxygen in the room. And so a Romney winning Iowa, you know, on the cusp of New Hampshire, at least based on the polls, really puts him in a position to really suck up all of that oxygen. And so I just think structurally it's a very, very different type of dynamic in 2012 than it was in 1992. And I also just think if you look at the Republican field, right, Republican primary voters have basically gone through a process of speed dating with all these candidates. And at the end of the day, it looks like they're stuck with the candidate that their parents picked. And so I just don't see really anyone else in the field. I mean, I was just talking the other day, I wonder how Mr. Pawlenty must feel these days. I think, you know, when he got out 3 or 4 months ago, that really took away the one person that could have been an alternative to Romney in this race.
Kind of an interesting thought right there. As with the rest of them from both of you, Michael Dennehy, Chris Lehane, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Well, okay, glad to have you. We're going to go straight now to the list of number ones, which is